This is my story. This is my song.
You're about to listen to a story of a young man named Kyle who has an amazing story where God used his life to take him from the mess he was in to help him find his true identity. I hope it finds you in a time of need. God bless.
I'm Kyle Taylor. I'm the son of Doug Taylor and Trinity Ewing. I'm 24 years old. I graduated from Lawrenceburg High School in 2011. I'm engaged to Sophie Maddox. I've been coming to Rising Sun Church of Christ for as long as I can remember. And yeah.
Awesome. I often tell people Sophie's the girl he hangs out with that we have no idea how he got. So it's kind of crazy, but Kyle he's been going to church for a few years now, and he got a lot of family here in Rising Sun, and he has a unique story, and as we're about to get into this story, he's going to be vulnerable, he's going to be open, he's going to be honest, and I hope it touches you, like I said, like it touched me. So why don't you go ahead and kind of tell us a little bit about your story with your past?
So through my past, I struggled for a long time with heroin addiction. Heroin was my drug of choice, but I would pretty much do anything. So I guess I just had a really bad drug addiction, and it took me to a spot in my life that I honestly never thought I would be. I was stealing from my family, stealing from my friends, burning a bunch of bridges, and just living a lifestyle that, I did not matter. I was making some choices that were literally would kill me, and it's just the lifestyle I was living was the most insane lifestyle, and what I was putting my family through was just insane, and just the drug addiction brought the bad out of me, and that's who I became. That's literally when I thought who I was. At first it started out, I was just having fun, if you want to call it that. But little did I know it was going to turn into a physical, mental, every kind of addiction you can think of. It literally turned my world upside down.
You kind of find yourself with your identity. You said you view yourself as a drug user, right? So how did that affect how you live? So you're defined by this addiction, so how did that affect every other area of your life?
So I literally couldn't function. If I got up in the morning, literally the first thing I was worried about was, it didn't matter because I was in college at the time and I was working. It didn't matter what I was doing. It affected everything, every part of my life. I woke up and I had to go up to Cincinnati or go wherever I had to go to get right because I wasn't going to be able to function. And so it led me, like I said, I was stealing from my friends, my family, everywhere. Well, I ended up getting caught stealing from my family, and so my parents sent me to detox, and so I went to detox for the first time, and I did a weekend detox, and I came out feeling great, but nothing changed. I was in there, I got my weight back up, and everything, but I knew nothing changed. The whole time I knew nothing changed. And so when I got out, I just continued to do, I just put up this front that I'm doing awesome, and I continued to get high, and then I was out of detox for about 3 weeks, but in them 3 weeks, I went up to Cincinnati, I got drugs, and I ended up doing them before I came back home, and hit 2 parked cars, and because I fell asleep at the wheel and then hit 2 parked cars, and luckily no one got hurt, and so the cops come and everything, and I thought I was playing it slick, but I obviously wasn't, and I ended up catching a OBI, and so up in Cincinnati they had bigger fish to fry than me, so they just arrested me, and then I had to call my dad. My dad So he takes me home and everything, and then the next morning we're taking me back to detox. And on my way to detox, we get a call that I'm a suspect in a theft case and all this stuff. But basically, my dad was like, well, he's going to get right first. Like, you guys can deal with him when he gets back. And because he's like, he's got to get better before. And so went to detox and everything, and did 5 days in detox. And then once I was getting out, I obviously couldn't come back home because I lost my license. I totaled my car. I didn't have nothing, and I didn't have anything left. And so they sent me to treatment in Georgetown, but they still kind of wanted me to go somewhere for a longer term treatment. So I was in that treatment for 2.5 weeks or so, and then I got put into treatment down in Florida. And I was there for a month and a half, and then I got out and I went to what they call halfway houses, where you're drug tested. It's basically you're paying rent. It's basically a rehab, but you pay rent and you are able to work and everything and all that stuff. So I did that, but it was just, once I got down to Florida, it was kind of like a revolving door with everything. I was in treatment, in a sober living, would get high, then it just was a revolving door down there. Nothing changed down there, and as much as I wanted it to, my whole heart wasn't in it. And because I didn't have, I did have consequences. I caught them 2 charges, but I didn't have the big consequences to open my eyes. And so when I was down there, the last time I ended up using, and I ended up overdosing. And I was getting kicked out of my halfway house, but the manager was like, I'm not going to kick you out on the street. I'm afraid you'll do something stupid. And so luckily he let me stay there until I had to fly home. And he came there the next morning to get me up so I could go help him work. And he found me laying there, pretty much dead. And so he called 911. They rushed me to the hospital and everything. And at the time, my parents didn't know anything until I got to the hospital. And so I'm not there. And they get me to the hospital, and then they call my parents and like, look, you guys need to come down here. It's not good. He's probably going to die. And so that's not a call your parents should get. It's that you're going to fly down to Florida and bring your son back and his body back. And so they called in, they put me in a medical-induced coma, and then they called my parents, and then so they were on the way down. And then once they got down there, I randomly just started doing better. My fever started dropping and everything. And so I ended up being in my coma for 3 days, the ventilator and everything. And they kept me in there for a week, and then I got out, and then I came home. And once that happened, it was just like, I woke up and literally my entire family, from my parents to my grandparents to my aunts and uncles, everybody was there, my cousins. And I just woke up and I didn't know what was going on. But it's just, that point, I'm just like, I do matter. I do matter. These people obviously care about me. And which I always knew, but in my addiction, it was just like I didn't think anybody cared. They knew that I was just in a bad spot, and that I just didn't. And so I come home, and I'm here for about 2 weeks or whatever until I get into a treatment, and then I go to treatment in Michigan, and do that for about 2.5 months, I think. And so then once I get out of treatment in Michigan, they put me in a sober living in California. And so I go out there, and I did awesome out there. I went out there with $100 to my name, and I just made it work. I had a job in the first week, and I did everything I was I wanted to come back, because I thought I had it. And, but that's what I get for thinking, is I thought I had it, but I didn't. And I come home, I do good for like 2 weeks, and one of my buddies called me and asked me if I wanted to go to the city with him. So I was like, yeah, let's go. And so I go, and on our way back, I ended up overdosing again. And so I wake up in Dearborn County Hospital, and they had hit me with Narcan 2 times, I think. And I wake up, and literally the first thing I think is, like, I literally just did this again. I did this like 6 months ago, and almost died, and I do it again. And so then I didn't think my parents were going to find out. I was like, all right, I got this. This is going to be all. I'll just brush it under the rug. It will all be good. But everybody knows my dad. And so then the cops come, and they ended up calling my dad. And so then I had to go out to that. And it literally just, it wasn't even that I was mad. It was literally just the look on his face was just like, what are we going to do? Like, this is the second time he almost died. And like, he's just like, and so he takes me home, and then the next morning, I go to work like nothing's wrong. And then once I get off work, I'm on probation this whole time, so I didn't have no drugs on me, so they really couldn't do anything. But so I knew I was probably going to get violated on my probation, and but they couldn't arrest me at the time. And so I go to work and everything, and I get off, and my mom texts me, and she said, call me, and then I'm like, and right when she says call me, I do, so I was like, I'm going to jail. And she called me, and she's like, well, Darcy, my cousin called Dad and said I had a bench warrant out for my arrest. And so that was on a Friday. I ended up turning myself in on Sunday evening, and so I could see the judge first thing Monday morning.
So you find yourself in this cycle where, you're on your deathbed, and then you think you're going to be clean, then you find something happens and you're not clean, and then you keep finding your identity. In the first service, he said, I found my worth in a $40 thing of heroin. Whatever heroin was when that moment, that's what he said he found his worth in it. Obviously, things have changed much since then. You're here today, you're not doing what you used to do. So I'm really interested, I'm sure they're interested. What changed? What was the difference that made you where you are today?
Like I said, the rehabs and everything, all that stuff it was fun. Like, it's almost like, it's hard to describe. I do really good under structure. Once in rehab, it was very structured, and I would do awesome. Literally, all my clinicians that I've ever had, my therapists and everything, were like, you got this, But me, deep down, thinking, I'm like, I don't got this. Like, I know I don't got this. And, but I would let everybody believe that I did. And, when I went to jail, it was rough, because I went in thinking I was getting bonded out, and then I go to court, and they're like, no bond. I just look over at my mom, I'm like, what? No bond? So then when they take me back to the drunk tank, then they tell me, like, Taylor, you gotta go to assessment. I'm like, well, okay, I don't know what that is, but okay. And so they put me in a single man holding cell for a little over 2 days, and it was horrible. It was honestly terrible. You don't know what time it is besides when trays come, so like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's the only time you know what time it is. And I didn't know at the time that I had money on the phone, and so I couldn't call my mom or my dad. And it just was literally, I was sitting in that cell with myself, and I'm just sitting here thinking, like, how did I get myself in this situation? Like, I'm in jail, I'm in this thing, I'm like, what went wrong? I'm like, why? I couldn't stop. And that was honestly a big thing for me. Like, it was rough. And then another thing that stuck out to me in jail was that when you can get mail in there a couple times a week, and my mom, Becky Smith, my aunts, my grandma, grandpa, everybody I would get at least 2 or 3 letters every time you could get it. And so I was waiting in line, and this guy in there, he just got sentenced 15 years, and he's like, "Man, Taylor," he's like, "you always get mail, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "My family's crazy, man. Like, they always send me stuff." And and then he looks at me, he's like, "Man," he's like, "don't ever say that again," because he's like, "You don't know how many people in here would kill to have that." And that stuck out to me, and I mean, I had a lot of respect for him when he said that, because, I mean, he just got sentenced 15 years, he didn't miss a prayer for no meals, like, and I'm just like, "How are you that positive?" I'm like, I want to kill everybody in here, and I'm only in here 6 months, like, and you're doing 15 years. But I had a lot of respect for him, and the jail opened my eyes. It really, I've been to jail, but I only did like a couple hours, and this time I actually had to do time, and not much time, but I mean enough time for me to be like, I'm done, like, and so once I got my 2 months done inside, then they gave me the house arrest and everything. And on house arrest, you're allowed to work, go to meetings, AA or NA meetings, and you're allowed to go to church. So I took full advantage of everything. But when I got a job right away, and I went to as many meetings as I could, and went to church every week. And that's really when faith has always been a big thing in my life. But like in jail, my mom would always send me Bible verses, or she copied pages from the book or whatever she was reading. So she kind of I'd always put it in the back burner, but she would always make it to where I kind of couldn't when I was in situations I was in. And so when I got out on house arrest, I'd come, and that's really when my faith started building, because I'd come here every week, and Sunday school and late service, and it just got me in a routine and everything, and it just gave me, it filled a void for me, because, I mean, there was always a void there, because, I mean, when I was younger, I was always shy. I'm still shy. That's one of the big reasons I think that I became who I was, because when I would do the drug, it'd bring me out of myself, and then that's who I thought I was. And that's who I wanted to act like without the drugs. But the drugs made me, it's hard to explain, but they got me out of my shell once, and but yeah, it's hard to explain.
You have a support system, you said first service, you
Yeah.
engaged, and you got your crazy family in the back row there, we see them every Sunday. You got church, you can't really go anywhere else but church, so you're stuck with hearing us crazy people. And, you really kind of just talk about how, you find your value in drugs, but then you kind of say, hey, jail opened your eyes, and then you said, my value's in, kind of who God created me. That's what you said, like you kind of accepted who you were. And,
Exactly.
one question I have for you to end, about 30 seconds or so. If you had to give anybody advice, maybe they're struggling with what you struggle with, or maybe they're struggling with insecurity or self-worth, what would be your advice?
Mm-hmm. But what my advice for that would be, it's hard. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't hard. To truly accept everything. I've done a lot of bad things in my life. I've done probably plenty for a lot of people in here, bad things, and I've made terrible choices, and it took me a long, long time to accept that my past is my past, and that's where it needs to go. I mean, your past is always going to be there, but as long as you keep living in your past, you're going to keep getting your past results. And that was me for half straight. Like literally, when I was doing the rehab, I was going in and out, in and out, in and out. I went through one rehab 3 different times, and they knew me by name there. As long as you keep living in the past, it's not easy. Like I said, you're going to keep getting the results, and my biggest thing was that when I change, when I do it, I want everybody to quit acting the way they were acting towards me right away. But I got to realize that I screwed a lot of things up, so nothing's going to get fixed right when I want it to get fixed. So you just kind of have to keep going with your faith. You just got to let it go and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the right thing, and everything will change. I mean, because my family, honestly, they've always wanted to be around, but they didn't trust me when I was at first. And now I have a little over 3 years clean from everything, and they'll leave a wallet in the room with me, which that don't have. It's just little things like that. They'll give me the key to their house. Like that would never happen back in the day. Just keep on going. Like you clean. I told this always stuck out to me, and the lady in rehab told me, like, as long as you clean your side of the street up, whatever that other people do, like whoever you're worried about does with their side of the street is on them. You can't make them feel any other type of way. And that always stuck out to me because I would always worry about mine and theirs. But now I just worry about me. I do what I gotta do to make Kyle right. And it's just been a long, hard battle. But I can honestly say I'm on top of this now. And I love who I am. In the past 3 years I've been clean. I've bought a car, I bought a house, and I'm getting married. Literally, if you had told me 3 years ago that all this would happen, I'd be like, you're nuts. You don't know who I am, but you're nuts. It's not going to happen. And I met my fiance on house arrest. Tell me how that happens. But it's insane. And it's just, I will never judge anybody for anything. From after what I've been through, and it's just, you don't know people's stories and what they've been through. Like I said in first service, I saw a lot of scumbags in jail, but I also seen a lot of good people that just made a bad choice, and they're doing 10, 15, 20 years, and it's just insane to me. And so, like I said, I'll never judge anybody, and I'm always open to talk to anybody or whatever. And
awesome. One more question, just real quick. How many years clean, you said?
Almost 3 years.
That's awesome. Let's give a round of applause for that. I hope Kyle's story touched you, and I want you to remember this, that no matter where you are, that either Kyle's story, my story, or your story, everything is dependent on Christ, that He is the ultimate Redeemer, that He redeems our story. God bless.
Praising my Savior.